and it is 11 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and kick it off. So, welcome everybody to What's New in Hummingbird for May. We have some really exciting features that we're about to share with everybody. Some big ticket items on here that have been requested for a really long time, so I know a lot of people are going to be excited about that. Plus, a couple of cool surprises and some really neat features for optimizing everything across Hummingbird. So with that, we'll go ahead and we'll get started. But let's talk about today's agenda. Yeah. So first off, we're going to talk about the do not rent list. Again, big hot ticket item, something that's been in the works for a long time. Really excited to show off how this functions inside Hummingbird. Then we'll talk about some of our task center improvements that we have coming to the system, as well as notes on spaces and some SEO improvements with Mariposa. But before we hop into all of these different features, let's go ahead and let's introduce the team. So I'm Stefan Stenders. I'm a technical trainer here at Tenant Inc. And also be the QA moderator for today's webinar. If you have any questions during a webinar, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A section. As we go through each feature, I'll go ahead and collect those and kind of serve them up to the different product team members that we have on the call here. And speaking of product, today I have Subhani Gupta. She is an associate product manager here at Tenant Inc. She's going to be presenting on the do not rent list and the SEO improvements. And this is Suhani's first webinar with tenants. So everyone give Sunny a big round of applause. Yeah, there we go. She's going to kill it. She's amazing at presenting. So really excited to have her on the call. And I think everyone knows Justin Paquin. He's Senior Director of Product here at Tenant Inc. He's going to be talking about the task center improvements and the notes on spaces. So welcome, Justin. It's been a minute since we've had you on the webinar as well. So yeah, I think this is his first for 2025. So kicking it out in style. All right. So first, let's kind of kick it off with the do not rent list. And Sunny, kind of walk us through what do not rent is supposed to do and kind of what are the problems we're solving with this?
Yeah, so currently operators face problems with tenants that may have kind of been problematic in the past. Maybe they've had multiple payment issues and just generally hard to work with. So operators might want to block them from renting again. So for this reason, we created the do not rent list, which acts as this sort of block list, which identifies tenants based on identifiable information like their email, phone, even their names. And then the operator can choose whether they want to allow them to move in or if they just want to automatically block them. And yeah, so I'll be walking through that feature.
All right, excellent. So I'll stop sharing here. So if you want to go ahead and share your screen. So this is really exciting because I know a lot of operators have been asking for this for a long time, and they may have do not rent lists that they've collected in the past, and now we're kind of allowing them to actually build it out here in Hummingbird. So I can see that you have a tenant pulled up, which is you, right? So walk us through why is there a red circle over the profile icon right here?
So suppose you have a bad tenant named Sunny Gupta at your property and you want to block her from making any more rentals. So first of all, the red circle around the profile indicates that this tenant is on the do not rent list. And it's, as you can see here, it's very clear and obvious whenever you search across the platform. Like if you were to do a global search here, that same red circle will appear. So operators will know immediately that this person has had some issues in the past. And yes, so the way that you add someone to the do not rent list, there's two places to do it in Hummingbird. So the first one is through the tenant profile itself. So over here, as you can see, if you scroll down into tenant info, we've added a new dropdown for tenant management, and this is called the do not rent. And basically, if you want to add someone to the do not rent list, all you have to do is check this checkbox and enter a reason, and then you can select save. And then it also shows who modified this box over here, at what time and what date. And once you save it, the red circle icon will appear. I've already done it for demo purposes, but you can definitely go ahead and try it out. And what's another thing that's really cool here is if you go into their notes, you can see that it automatically adds a note with the same auditing information here. So it says this person has been sent to the do not rent list by this user on this date and time, so that you can always keep a record of when people are added to the list and by who. And then the second place that you can add someone to the do not rent list is in tools. And so if you go into your tools here, we've added this new section called do not rent, or the do not rent marks. So one thing I do want to mention is that we've added 4 new permissions around the do not rent list. And if someone doesn't have access to view the do not rent list or make any changes, they won't be seeing this section in the tools section here. I have all the permissions for the demo, so it does appear for me. But yeah, but if you turn off the permissions, you won't be able to see it. And so here I've just pre-searched by name, and as you can see in the tools section, when you add a tenant to the do not rent list, they appear right over here. You can go ahead and click the 3 button or this button right over here, and you can edit the tenants or you can remove. So when you click edit, one thing to note is you can't edit their phone number or email as of now when they're on the do not rent list. And this is to prevent any kind of loopholes or any kind of like bribery that someone may try to do at the facility. All you could do is edit the reason as of now. And you can also remove tenants by just clicking remove over here. All right, and then one thing I also want to show is that once you add someone to the do not rent list, it gives you some warnings around if you try to add a space or like if you try to move them in, you'll see a similar warning message like this every time where it tells you this tenant is on the do not rent list. It shows you that bright red circle again. And since I have the permissions, I'm able to continue and rent them into the space. But again, if someone doesn't have the permission, they won't be able to do that. And they're also prevented from transferring units as well. So as you can see here, the transfer section is also grayed out. All right, and then going into tools. So when you add a contact, you can add them over here. And the first I'll show what happens if you try to add someone who's already on the do not rent list. So if I just put in my same information as before, we'll now say payments. And I try to add myself. You can see here it shows this message that the contact already exists. And then it shows you the information you put in and shows you the information we had already on the do not rent list. So then now if I try to add a completely new contact, let's say if I have a sister, we can put in her information. And as you can see, so you have the option to create this new contact. And so I'll add this person to the do not rent list and then they'll show it as well. For here, it's just, I still have my search information, but if I clear it, we should be able to see her.
So one question that came up, Sunny, while you're adding people to the do not rent list is, what if someone has a closed lease, right? So they're no longer an active tenant, but they also aren't a new contact. Would we still be able to add them to the do not rent list?
Yeah, so you can always add new contacts to the do not rent list. All the do not rent list does is prevent someone from kind of doing future business with you. And so even if they have a closed lease, if they try to rent with your facility again, they'll be blocked from doing that.
Very good. And so this is property specific, or you can have this so that everyone in the portfolio can see who's on the do not rent list.
Yeah, so the do not rent list is actually on a corporate level. So that way, if someone tries to rent at a different location for your business, they won't be able to get in that way. So there's no loophole there. And yeah, so as you can see, the new tenant that I added or the new contact that I added to the do not rent list shows up right here. All right. And then we also added a bulk edit option. So over here, you can decide if you want to remove people in bulk. And so you just click the bulk edit here and then select however many, like suppose if you have duplicate entries like we do over here, you can go ahead and select them and then just choose to remove them all. And it should make it really simple like that. We just have no entries. Um, right. And then the other thing you can do is bulk upload. So in my opinion, this is kind of the coolest part of the do not run list. And here, if you already have a spreadsheet, which we know a lot of operators do to keep track of their tenants, you can upload an Excel file and then it'll automatically add them to the do not run list if the information is correct. So here we have a sample upload file where if you download it, you're able to view it and it gives you the fields that are necessary in order to bulk upload people to the do not run list. So we have your first name, last name, email, phone code, phone number, and the reason. And so suppose you have a spreadsheet like the one that I'm showing here of some tenants that I want to add. So as you can see, I have them in the same format that I showed before. So I will go ahead and upload that file. All right. There's this one. And so when you upload it, you'll get this little download message here. When you download the report, it'll show you the same information that you've entered and also a status for whether they were added to the do not run list or not. So here you can see like status where like these contacts were successfully added to the do not run list, and then a failure like why like maybe it wasn't added to the do not run list for some reason. And if that is the case, in detail, you'll see a reason for why they were not added. So here you can see that this person forgot to put in like a gmail.com or yahoo.com email. So they would just need to go ahead and re-enter that information. All right. And then the last thing that I have here is the permission. So when you go into your permissions and the users and roles, we have a new do not rent dropdown. And so there's 4 permissions here that we've introduced. One is the add to the do not rent list, then allowing moving in do not rent list contacts. We have removing from the do not rent list and viewing the do not rent list. And so those permissions dictate whether or not or how much authority someone has over the do not rent. And so yeah, so that was the do not rent list feature. Yeah, we hope it's helpful for you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. So excellent job, Sunny. We have a lot of questions coming up on the do not rent list. So one of them is do we have a plan to be able to add people to the do not rent list, perhaps based on the driver's license number? Is that something that we're working on right now, or?
Yeah, so we did consider that. Currently, we don't have it based on driver's license numbers specifically, but that may be an enhancement we add.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So we also saw that we can add in a phone number and an email address to mark someone on the do not rent list, right? Will that work if they just have one of those? So let's say a tenant only has a phone number, or do they need to have both in order to be on the do not rent list?
Yeah, so it can be either an email or a phone number.
Very good. All right. How about if someone is a contact, right? So they haven't rented with us just yet, and we put them on the do not rent list, and they come up as a lead. Is it sort of the same process there, where if they're a lead in the system, they'll still show up as do not rent?
Yeah, anywhere it shows their mini profile in the system, it'll show that red circle. And anytime you have where you usually have the ability to move someone in or select a space for them, you won't be able, it'll show that error messaging for them too.
Gotcha. Gotcha. How about online? So let's say someone's renting through Mariposa, they're not going into the site itself, right? What kind of error can they expect to see on the Mariposa side of things? Do they get an error, or is this something that's more HD specific?
Yeah, so if someone's renting on Mariposa and they have a hard match, which is either a match on like an email or a phone number, the more identifiable specific information, then they will be prevented from renting on Mariposa, and they'll receive an ambiguous error message that says like contact your facility manager. If they have a match for like first and last name, then that's something we consider a soft match, in which case the facility will get an email saying this person was like moved in through Mariposa, and we don't put any restrictions there, but it kind of gives the operators like a little signal that maybe they want to follow up with that tenant to see if there were any issues, or if someone just has a really common name that happens to be on the do not rent list. Um, I will say though that for the Mariposa aspect and the email notifications, those are currently underway and we expect them to be in production very soon.
Very good. All right. Last question on do not rent before we move on to the task center improvements. Are you able to add more information if you find out that a tenant has maybe a different email or a different phone number and they're trying to rent using that?
Yeah. So are you, to clarify the question, is it like, suppose someone adds an email and you have their name, but then later on you found out what their phone number is? Are you asking if you can edit to add their phone number that way?
Yeah, basically adding more information to that do not rent contact.
Yeah, so that is something that we've discussed as a enhancement. We're currently doing some research and development on that, but we do want to have the ability where instead of editing the contact itself, you can add multiple phone numbers to one do not rent contact or multiple emails that way. So that's something we're working on for the future.
Very good. Well, excellent job, Sunny. I know everyone is super excited for this, and just by the amount of questions we got on this one feature alone, I think people are really, really excited to get underway with it in the platform. So, excellent job there. All right. So, moving on, I'm going to share my screen again. I know this is another big ticket item right here, which is the task center improvements. So, Justin, take it away. I know you're floating in space somewhere above North America right now, but tell us about the task center and kind of what we can expect in this release here.
Yeah, so this is the first release of a number of improvements that we've been making to Task Center. I know that I'm pretty sure all of you on this call are understand it's about time. There definitely have been some challenges, and with this release, we're looking to address a number of them, and then there's going to be a lot of other cool stuff coming in May as well. Let me share my screen here.
There we go. Should be good to go.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and stop sharing, Justin. That way you can take over. Yeah.
All right. There we go. Okay. So the Task Center in this release coming out on Monday, it addresses a couple of key issues around the Task Center. The most notable things that we've added is proper assignment of tasks to individuals. We've also updated the filtering and sorting of tasks so that when you sign in, you only see the tasks that are assigned to you. So the idea here is your staff, your managers, the task was supposed to be a thing that you work through over the course of the day and ideally get it down to zero. Right now, it just shows everything and it goes, from now into the future, even future tasks, and it's really not very useful. So the idea here is the task center is going to show only the tasks that are assigned to, the person who signed in. And it will also show just the tasks that are due today and overdue. There is the ability to change your views to filter and so on, so you can see the stuff that you have to do tomorrow, or if there's a specific task that you created and you assigned it to the wrong person and you want to go find it and change it, you'll have the ability to do that. The other key thing that we've added here, and it's related to the task assignment, is all of the system generated tasks. So things that you add to your delinquency timelines, or tasks that just get automatically created by Hummingbird, like when a lead gets created, you have the ability to go in and set defaults. So default details, descriptions of the task you want to do, or who you want it to be assigned to. And you'll be able to assign, I'll show this, you'll be able to assign tasks to both roles and individuals. So I'm gonna stop talking there. I think the best way to do this is just to kind of show it. And there's some other concepts like hot tasks that you'll be like, well, what's this? And we'll explain it as we go here. So the task center's got a new look and feel here to support some of this new functionality. We've reorganized it. So you can see I'm signed in as myself, and the number of tasks I actually have is quite a bit smaller than you would typically have at a property, because I'm just seeing the things that are assigned to me. A couple key things here. You might notice some of these tasks have a little flame up in the corner. This is the hot task concept that was kind of there, but we've really we're running with now. The idea of a hot task is it's a task where minutes matter. It's due now. So an example of that is all of your lead follow-up tasks. Those are created as hot tasks. Hot tasks always show up at the top of the list. They have a timer that counts up instead of a due date. So you can see this one, it'll show the number of minutes, and then when it switches to hours, it shows hours. And then if it goes on to the next day, then it actually just shows the date that it was created. But you can see these leads came in little more than an hour ago, between 1 and 2 hours, and they're there at the top of my list. I have the ability to change my view here, so I can see, when I come in, the default is the things that are due today. If I just want to see my overdue tasks, I can do that, or the stuff that's due tomorrow. I have nothing right now. So the idea here is, the functionality is generally the same as you're used to. When you've got a lead, if you click on the task, it will open up the lead follow-up screen. If you go to something like you're going to do a scheduling an auction or something like that, it will take you to the appropriate place in Hummingbird. And as you complete the task, that task is completed here. Other ones, like, for example, I created a task, like we've got a health and safety issue. Someone spilled some oil in lane 7. Okay. I can go in here, and it's not a system generated task. So there's nothing. The only way to complete it is just to click the complete button, and I can do that here. So just going back to my list here, the numbers you're seeing here, what this shows, traditionally it just showed the number of tasks, but now since we've got hot tasks, what it's actually showing is the number of hot tasks and the total number of tasks. So there are, in my lead bucket here, I've got 2 of 2 are hot tasks. But if I look at my delinquency bucket, there's no hot tasks, and it's just 4 tasks. So I can filter and sort. Typically your managers are going to be working here. I don't expect they're going to use these filters very much, because realistically, you're supposed to be tackling the stuff from top to bottom. But you might be like, okay, I want to plan, the stuff I got to do out in the yard. If I got to go do my lock cuts and things like that, and my overlocks, you can filter the list. You can clear the filter. But it's quite simple. The other thing is we do have a more complex filter dialog here, where you can come in and look for something specific. There's a certain task that I need to go find. I want to see all the stuff that's assigned to Stefan. I want to go find things that were created on this date or of a certain type. You can create complex filters and apply them, and then clear them as necessary. When we talk about task assignment, this is something that sort of existed in our task center before for system generated tasks. Obviously, like if it's a lead follow-up, it's associated with the lead. If it was a collection call, it was associated with a specific tenant. Now, when you're creating tasks manually, you can associate them with so if I wanted to, I don't know, call and wish somebody happy birthday or something like that, I could make an operations task. Call and wish happy birthday. I can assign it to, a role or a user. I'll just pick myself. And then in the list here, I can say, oh, this is a tenant. I want to find that specific tenant. And you can search in the box just like you would in the global search. And you have the ability to say, yes, this is a hot task, or no, it's not a hot task. Hot tasks are always, if I toggle this on, I don't have to pick a due date, because that means it's due right now and minutes matter. If I don't select hot task, then I can choose a due date. There's something, let's say I'm going to do tomorrow, and I can create this task, and it shows up in the list. Couple permissions we've added for this. As you'll know, in the we've maintained the behavior that anyone can see any task for a property that they have permission to. But we have added permission called can modify tasks not assigned to me. And this is something that your district managers would have, but your managers would probably not have. And what we've done there is anyone can see any task and complete any task. But without that can modify tasks not created by me, you can't change assignment or the details. And the idea behind that is we didn't want, staff who are like, I've just been overdue for 2 days. I don't want it assigned to me. I'm going to go and assign it to Stefan or something like that, or change the details. Any task that a user creates, they have the ability to change it. And, we need that in case one of your staff members creates something and it's like, I typoed, I made a mistake. You want to be able to go fix it. So anything that a user creates, they can modify on their own. Let me see here. So we've talked about association. We've talked about the new assignment. We've talked about hot tasks. We've talked about permissions. The last thing to show here is the defaults for the system generated tasks. So if you head into automations, there's a new section here called system generated tasks, and it shows all of the tasks that are generated by the system. And here is where you can go and say, okay, let's say for my lot cut tasks, this is the role that I want to assign it to. You can enter, custom details. It's pretty self-explanatory, but if you want to explain to them how to do it or where to find the bolt cutters or something, you can do that. And you have the ability to mark these as hot tasks or not. When this is released, everything is the assigned to, as you know, didn't exist. So every task is assigned to everyone. So the assigned to is blank for all of these. That means it will continue to just assign all the tasks to everyone. So one of the things you may want to consider after release is going in here and configuring this so that not everyone is seeing all the tasks like they currently do. You have the ability to, make some of these system generated tasks hot or not, but realistically, we've set them, the lead follow-ups are hot. Your delinquency tasks are not. I don't expect you're going to mess with that, but you can if you want to. So that summarizes the new functionality. A couple things I want to mention that we're working on, which are also very exciting. It's something that's going to be coming out in May is recurring tasks. So this is the ability for yourselves, your district managers to go in and, just like you would set up a recurring calendar event in your Google Calendar, your Outlook calendar, or recurring tasks, in your email program, you can say, okay, this happens on the second Wednesday of every month, or this happens every day, or this happens every Tuesday. And you can create these recurring task templates with details, with a title, it's hot or not, and with default assignment. And then the system every day will go and create those tasks and assign it to the appropriate individuals. So you can really start to, automate, the tasks that your staff do around the facility on a regular basis. So yeah, recurring tasks are coming. And the other thing that we are working on, we want to get in this release, but I didn't quite make it. One of the pain points that we have that exists today is around, the task list, and you want your staff to be burning the task list down to 0. That's the goal. One of the things that exists today is leads are represented as a task in the task center, and that task persists until the lead is either retired or moved in, which kind of is counter to this concept of burning the task list down to 0. When a lead is created, let's say somebody abandons the checkout process on the website, and a lead task is created, you want a task to exist for the follow-up, and then you want your staff member to complete the follow-up and to mark it as complete, and then have subsequent tasks be created for subsequent follow-ups if necessary, and so on. So that's going to be coming with our lead automation functionality that's going to be delivered in, I'm going to say late May or early June. And so that will really kind of close the loop in the task center here about really being able to burn that task list every day down to 0. So that is what we're doing with tasks. Sure, there's some questions, so hit me with them, Stefan.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a bundle of questions for you, Jeff. So one question we have is, once you follow up on a task, or to follow up on a lead, is that timer going to stop, or is it going to reset, or do we still see that expected behavior where that timer is just going until you finally complete that task or convert that lead?
Yeah, great question. So the timer is going to continue to count up. And now today you're going to be like, that's annoying because whatever, I got the guy's voicemail, I got to call him back tomorrow, and the timer's continuing to count up. And yes, I know, we know that is going to be solved when we break this concept of a lead existing in the task center as a lead and move to this model of, for that lead, there is a task, which is a follow-up task that you need to complete within minutes. And when you complete it, that task goes away. And if necessary, another task is created for a follow-up tomorrow or 2 days from now or something to that effect.
Very nice. Awesome. How about for the super admin role? So let's say I'm a super admin at my facility.
Yeah.
Can I see all of the tasks that are assigned to everyone, or do I need to have that task assigned to super admins in order to see that task?
Yeah, great question. So you can see the tasks assigned to people that aren't you. Anyone can do that actually, but your default task, the default view when you enter the task center is still the tasks that are assigned to you. So you could come in here and set a filter and say, I just want to see everything and change the view. If you really wanted to see like, what's all the stuff that is, assigned to this property, or what's all the stuff that was created today, what's all the stuff that's incomplete. If you want to do that. Now, the idea behind this is the task center reports are existing as they are today, and that's the tool that I've envisioned that I'll call it the district managers or the bosses would use to see, okay, what are the things that are overdue, or what are the things that remain to be done, and also what are the tasks that were completed today.
Got it. Excellent. So you talk about hot tasks, and hot tasks I'm really excited about because it is really kind of putting that priority on to say, hey, complete this now. Can we label maybe past due tasks as hot tasks? Can you retroactively make a task into a hot task if it's like, hey, I need you to complete this right now for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can do that for tasks that you manually create. Okay. So and I'll just differentiate between like a system generated task. So, for example, this lock removal, removing overlock. Okay. So this is generated by the system. Now that is created, the only change you can make to it is to reassign it. Okay. It's a system generated task. But if it's something like down here, clean up trash in the hallway, there's glass. Okay. So when I originally created this, oops, sorry, clicked the wrong button here. It is just a regular task. It's not hot. But if I go in here and I'm like, oh, whoops, I forgot to click the button or change my mind, I can just edit the task, save it, and on you go. And again, this would be the people who can make that change are the person who created the task or someone who has the I can modify tasks not created by me permission.
Very cool. Awesome. How about
so you can see actually just this changed it. So the clean up trash in the hallway, you see it's green. Here's a little just kind of factoid, and we're going to iterate on this, but the minutes matter. So it stays green for 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, it will turn to red.
Even better. Sorry for jumping the gun there, Justin. How about task notifications? So let's say you're the super admin, you assign a task for me to go ahead and clean up that glass in the hallway. How do I get notified? Do I get a text or an email saying, hey, go do this in Hummingbird? Or do I need to kind of be looking at the Hummingbird screen to see that task is available?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I'll say that's one of the things we haven't solved to the level of satisfaction yet. So there's two things that I'm working on doing here. One is making some kind of sound or automation animation in Hummingbird. Like when you get an email in Outlook or something like that, you're used to hearing that chirp sound, something shows up in the task tray, something in here. The other thing that we're working on, which is kind of more, I'll call it global across the task center and other things, is what we call the notification platform or the notification manager, to be able to choose, to be able to get, text messages on a cell phone, emails or alerts when things happen, to really, because exactly as you say, if a hot task comes in or a task gets assigned, you you don't actually, unless you're looking at the screen or constantly polling and checking, you're not going to see it. So that is something that's not in this release, but we are thinking about that and working on that.
Awesome. Yeah. We have a couple more questions here. I'll try to get to the really kind of hot topic ones before we move on to the next couple features here. So I saw that we can assign tasks to multiple users. Now, is the first user to complete that task, or is that going to clear it from everybody's kind of task list?
That's correct. Yeah. So yeah, you can think about it that way. It's a single task that's assigned to multiple roles or users for completion. And then once one person completes it, that task, because it's only one, is considered to be gone. One kind of minor cool feature that, I actually forgot to mention about here is when you're creating tasks, you have the ability to pick, let's see here. I can pick multiple spaces.
Oh, cool.
And so when I do that, if there's something that like multiple spaces or properties, this will actually create multiple tasks with the same information, just associated with a different entity. So you can, bulk create tasks, or like if you're a district manager and you're like, I need a manager each property of the 6 or 10 properties that I managed to do this, you can come in here, select multiple properties, same description, assign it to the same role, which is, the manager. And then boom, now everybody gets it at the different properties, and there's one copy for each property.
Got it. Very cool. I'll answer a couple more questions here before we move on to the rest of the features that we want to show. One question we have is there a property calendar in the works around tasks? Right now, some people, they may assign tasks kind of in their Google Calendar or maybe their Outlook calendar for users. Are we planning something similar for Hummingbird?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to say I'm interested in learning more about that. That's one of the things that's kind of come up, and I'll say I'm like, thinking about it and trying to work out the kind of mental model and use cases around that. So the short answer is I don't have something like, yes, this is exactly how it's going to work and what we're going to do, but that has come up a little bit, and so I'm not sure who the commenter was there, but I'd love to talk to them more about that to see what they're thinking.
Absolutely. Yeah, Justin, I can kind of get you their information and after the call, we can reach out and talk more about that. Yeah. All right. Last question that I'll answer around this right now. And if we have some more time at the end, we'll try to get to the rest of the questions around Task Center. I know there's a lot and everyone's really curious about it. It's great. But last question I want to answer here is the collector call category still in the Task Center, or is that something that's still being
added? Yeah, good question. Just what we did was that's moved under delinquency. So it was just kind of in simplifying the interface. We really kind of, from consultation with folks like yourself, it's like, okay, we really done, there's 4 categories of things here. There's lead, dealing with leads, there's delinquency stuff, operations, and maintenance. And so it's there, we just consolidated it.
Awesome. And I love the new, really streamlined, optimized look at the Task Center. When I first saw it, it kind of blew me away because I was like, man, this is a lot better and just really refined. So I'm glad that we kind of got all of that sorted out there. So thank you, Justin, for everything on Task Center. And if we can at the end, we'll try to get through the rest of the Task Center questions. But I think next, this is kind of a short but sweet feature, Justin, if you want to keep sharing your screen. So notes on spaces. So walk us through this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a much shorter demo. It's exactly as it sounds. We have the ability to make notes on tenants. But there's, for maintenance reasons, things you find in your walkthrough, you want to, you want to note that, hey, we fixed the hinges on this door, so that you can look back and say like, yeah, we were doing this every 6 months. Maybe we should, do something a little bit more because this keeps coming up. So when you go to your space card, there's now a notes tab, and it looks exactly as creating notes on tenants. You can come in here and, you can enter information, you can pin it. It's, exactly as creating notes on tenants, but it's just on that space. It's independent of whether a tenant's been in there or not. You hit save and the list is here. Very simple, but powerful.
Very nice. Yeah. We don't have any questions on it just yet. I think it's pretty straightforward, but the question I was going to ask you just popped up. Is there a report to download for the space notes? Can we do any kind of reporting on that?
There is not. I'm, that's kind of, yeah, that's interesting actually. That when I thought about that, I was like, is it that people just want to see notes that were created recently, or is it all the notes going back all time? Maybe if we could get who that was, that's something I kind of mulled over, but it didn't really come up in my initial gathering requirements from some folks. So I don't have that in the plans right now.
Got it. I do see that they are anonymous. However, anonymous attendee, feel free to reach out to Tenant Academy at tenantinc.com with your question. We can follow up with you in more detail there. So, very good. Another question is, we have a couple more coming in. Will we be able to see the notes on the space now?
No, that is not there today, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Sounds good. How about on the walkthrough report or the walkthrough itself? Can we see the notes for the spaces if we're doing a walkthrough through the facility?
So no, we don't have that. One of the things that it's kind of a presentation problem. Again, I'd love to talk to folks about this to see what they're really getting at, because you could have 100 notes on a single space, and when you've got one line in that walkthrough report for that space, how do you present that? So I'd like to understand that a little bit more in terms of is it just the most recent note, right, or what the use case is behind that.
Gotcha. Yeah. We can definitely follow up on that. That user is not anonymous, but so feel free to reach out to me and Justin on that question. We can kind of work through it a little bit more in detail. Let's see. We have a couple more questions here. So one person asked, we're a huge user for DaVinci locks. Can we have the notes for the DaVinci lock combo assigned to a space to auto-populate in the notes field, or have a separate field for DaVinci locks? Is this something that we've considered at all, Justin?
Not in that way. I would. So, with regards to that deeper integration with DaVinci locks, that's something that we're interested in doing. The way that would manifest, we wouldn't. Notes is kind of a crude tool, and so we would probably present that in a I'll call it a more elegant way, as more of an attribute of the space itself. But so short answer, no, we're not. If we do that, we're not going to handle it in notes. But I totally understand the need and desire behind that.
Gotcha. All right. Excellent. Let's see. I'm checking to see if we have any other questions here. So Justin, if you do pin a note, that should show at the very top of the communications kind of tab there, just like for a tenant, which is great. Justin's gonna demo that for you right now.
Yeah. So if I just put something in here, if it's save, it's pinned up at the top here. I can unpin it or I can pin it. Yeah. I'd have to create some more to have them change the order here.
Sounds good. There we go. So yeah, it works just like the tenant profile. You'll have kind of that end note right at the top with that kind of sticky note color against it. So very good. All right. Thank you for that, Justin. Really, really great seeing how the improvements on the task center and the notes on spaces. I'll go ahead and share my screen in just a second, get the presentation going again. Last thing that we wanted to cover today is we have some really great improvements coming to kind of the Mariposa side of things. So I'll go ahead and get the presentation up. There we go. I think we'll be sharing in just a second. So yeah, Sunny, go ahead and kind of walk us through what we're doing to kind of make some SEO enhancements to Mariposa and some of these cool background things that we're doing.
Yeah. So one of the enhancements that we've made are to our storage types pages that we currently have today on Mariposa. So some of the issues that that you guys have brought up and we have really tried to improve on are kind of improving for SEO optimization across the site. And so one thing with the storage types pages is currently they do give information on certain features and how they they add more content and information, which is helpful for the SEO search algorithm. However, users don't have anywhere to go from those pages itself. So one of the biggest enhancements we've made to these pages are we've introduced backlinks that can link to properties that now have that feature that's being highlighted in those search types. And then the other thing is we've added a little bit more of the features needed for SEO optimization for Google, for search engines, SEO optimization, and also just for domain authority. We're able to add meta tags, keywords, and yeah, overall, these pages should help your sites rank higher on the search engines and overall help the customer experience on the website. And so now I will be sharing my screen to demo the feature. All right. And so here's how you use the enhancement to the storage types pages. So in the CMS, you can see you still go to storage types. And let's say if I want to create a new page, I'll just go right here to add a new storage type. And so let's say I want to highlight climate control storage for this. So I'll just go ahead and enter my title. The slug automatically updates. I'll put my display name as the same. And this is the part that is newer. And so we added this dropdown called related features and amenities. And here, when you choose the feature and amenity that is tied to this page or the one that you want to highlight, this is what controls what links show up for the properties on the overall landing page or for the storage page. And so that's what I'll show when we publish this. And then let's say I want to add a video or an image. I will go ahead and add the ID. And here you can preview the video. So we have climate controlled storage here. All right, and then I'll just add the abstract and content. So these sections haven't changed from before. So we have our abstract. And their content. All right, and then you can also add your meta title, your keywords, and maybe your description too. And then the last step is to go to the status. And if you want to publish it, like how we're doing right now, you can change the status to publish and then say the type. And then don't forget to clear your cache. And then as you can see here, we had 2 pages before. When I reload the page, our beautiful new storage text page should appear as it says here. So you can see climate control storage. When I click into this page, you can see our video, our content, and then here's where you see the new links to the properties that have that climate control, that have climate controlled units at those facilities. And so these are always going to be organized by state as well. So for example, if I had California and Nevada, it would automatically pull those links and put them into the correct state. And yeah, pretty short and sweet, but big enhancement to the storage types pages.
Very nice. Yeah, I know we're kind of optimizing for new ways that kind of the search engines are crawling for all this stuff. So this is very cool. And if it then does end up on this page, right, then click right into go to the landing page, which is even better. One question that we had is, does this work for every template?
Yeah, so for the storage types pages, so this would work for our grid view, list view, and even the default pages.
Awesome. Very good. All right. Let's see. We have one question here that I'll just do a different answer on. Anything else that you want to add around some of the other benefits that this may have, or was that kind of a pretty comprehensive coverage of everything here?
Yeah, I think this is pretty comprehensive. It's pretty similar to the old functionality, but hopefully this increases the usability of this feature, since now it adds a little bit more depth to, or a little bit more of like a usability to creating these pages, because now users have somewhere to go from these, and hopefully that'll drive more traffic to those facilities on from a corporate level too.
Awesome. Yeah. Another question came in. Is the storage type page only accessible through organic search, or did it show up on the left side rail across all the interior pages in Mariposa?
So the storage types pages appears at the top here. So no matter what facility you're on, these storage types pages appear the same for each property. And so when you click into storage types, you'll always be directed to this page, and then these pages should also show up through organic search as well. If, like, for example, if someone searches climate control storage, hopefully these pages will also rank.
Awesome. Good to know. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see any other questions for the SEO right now and all the improvements there. Thank you, Sunny, for walking us through that. I know that this got a lot of value in terms of searchability and findability for facilities. But yeah, we have about 10 minutes left, so perfect amount of time to kind of cover the rest of the questions that are coming in. Of course, if you have questions still, feel free to add them. We'll try to get through as many as we can before noon here Pacific time. We all have to run a lunch, of course. We're all very hungry, so we need to grab something to eat. However, we can go ahead and tackle some of these. And Justin, we got a couple more per task. So we'll see you're still floating out there in space. One question that we had is per task associated with a tenant. Do we have a record in their profile specifically for who completed those tasks and when?
Now let me come back on here. Okay, so tasks that are assigned to tenants, they do show up on their tenant profile. Today, completed tasks show until the end of the calendar day. That's both in the task center and in the tenant profile. This is one of the things we're looking at. And hey, if people want to send me an email with some feedback in terms of like, kind of how important is it to have that historical record of tasks completed against the tenant? I'm seeing, a future here, when we talk about managing tasks more generally on the property itself, being able to, one of the things I'm looking at adding, we've got images and attachments on tasks. I'm also looking at adding comments so that tasks themselves become almost a repository of information. And so just like in other task systems, you may want to look at a completed task to grab some information off it. And so making that accessible more generally after the tasks are completed is something we're looking at.
Got it. Awesome. How about in the default task center view? Do you see the tasks assigned to everyone, or do you see the tasks that are assigned to you until you can build it?
You just see the tasks that are assigned to you, but that includes no matter how it was assigned to you. Tasks can be assigned to everyone. Tasks can be assigned to a role or multiple roles and or multiple individuals. And so your view in the task center is the things that are assigned to you.
Got it. Very nice and focused, which I like right off the bat. How about let's say I create a task with someone and they go ahead and complete it or they don't complete it. Do I get any kind of follow-up as the assignee or the assigner of that task?
So no, that's not what the reason it is intended to work here is there's some reports for tasks in the dynamic reports where you can see incomplete tasks, overdue tasks. So this is something using dynamic report functionality we have. Your district managers would be like, okay, I want to get a report every day that shows me all the overdue tasks. What's the task name? What's the property? Who's it assigned to? So that you can follow up and be like, hey, Justin, what are you doing here? Or you can also get a list of the tasks that were completed on X day in the past if you wanted to track what was done.
Very, very good. Awesome. One question on the let's see, on the training front is what user training do we have ready to help roll this out to property managers and assistants and whatnot? I can answer that one. So we do have a LMS course in the works for this release. we're putting some final polishes on it just to make sure that we have everything covered right there. So you should see that in the LMS very soon. Should hopefully have that by end of day today available for you guys to go ahead and log in and take that course right there. So yeah, we'll have it ready in the LMS. So if you'd like to train your users on it, you can. Let's see if we have anything around SEO. So Sunny, one question around the backlinking in Mariposa. When a user clicks into the links that they have on that page, right? Let's say I'm clicking because I'm interested in sign up info. Does it automatically filter for that specific feature, or is it just bring me to the landing page for that? So
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you click on the link, this doesn't automatically filter, just yeah, so this would just take you to the overall landing page. However, we do have another kind of enhancement to feature pages called property specific feature pages. And this is still in the works, but we're hoping to get it by the next release, where these will give you the ability to filter by, let's say, climate control, and it'll filter the units in the property itself. And then it'll also customize the URL so that you can use those in ad campaigns or marketing. And so when a user uses that unique URL, it'll take them to the already filtered units. But in terms of the more corporate level storage types, feature pages, this just takes you to the overall property landing page.
awesome, very good.
Sorry, Stefan, can I just ask a quick question? If I'm answering people's questions in the question and answer, are they getting my answers? Or is that just going into? Oh, okay, cool. All right, I'll keep doing that then. I was making sure I wasn't working for nothing here.
No worries. Yeah, they will definitely see it. Yeah. One question you might be able to answer for us, Justin, is this available for mobile manager? How's the new task center going to integrate?
Yeah, so good question here. So the mobile manager and the task center are, they do kind of go hand in hand. So today, the mobile manager is a field service tool. It is not designed to be the task center in the field. There's some kind of distinctions there. It's not going to be available on day one, but we're prioritizing that. There's going to be a mobile experience for the task center. It's one thing to working on the mobile experience for Hummingbird in general, so that if you sign into Hummingbird on your phone, you'll get a good a good experience in the task center on your phone, which is separate from the mobile manager.
Awesome. We have about 3 minutes left here, so we'll try to get through a couple of questions. One question I think that is on everyone's mind is when can we expect these features to actually land in Hummingbird?
So what we've talked about today, the release is planned for early Monday morning. So you should see it Monday morning, if that's the question that's being asked. Or do you mean the stuff that I was talking about that would be coming in the future?
No, so everything that we covered in the webinar that's actually like a ticket item that we
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we've shown today will be available for you Monday morning.
Awesome. So yeah, Monday morning, May 5th is when you can expect that. Let's see. So we have about 2 minutes left here. We'll try to tackle some notes stuff. If you go to the notes tab, do you have to go to the notes tab to check for notes on spaces, Justin, or does a pinned note automatically show when you click on a space?
You would have to go to the notes tab, but it is a really good point that I think we should potentially just show a little bubble here that says there are notes and how many there are.
Got it. When can we expect a recording of the webinar? I can answer that one. So usually we just have to wait for Zoom to kind of render the video for us and get that ready. So we should have that recording ready pretty soon. It should definitely be ready by the time the release is out, pending hopefully Zoom doesn't throw us a curveball and say, oh, you're recording back correct or anything like that. So we will have that recording out as soon as we can. We'll have it out as a YouTube link, so you can freely share that with whoever you'd like within your organization and whatnot. So we will get that out to you guys as soon as we can. We have about a minute left here, so unfortunately not able to get to every single question that we had, but lots of really good questions. Thank you guys all for attending as well. Thank you, Sunny, for an excellent first webinar. Knocked it out of the park. Thank you, Justin, for everything on Class Center and Notes on Spaces. If you have any additional questions, if we didn't get to your question, feel free to reach out to Tenant Academy at tenantinc.com. We can start kind of getting to those questions as they come in. But thank you so much, everyone, for attending. We really, really appreciate it. We hope that you love the new features that are on the horizon. And stay tuned for more webinars just like this one on the horizon. So we will see everyone very, very soon. Bye.